Melissa and welcome to Introvert Reads, and in today's video we're going to be doing the Reading Rush wrap-up. So I felt like it would be cool if I just took all the books that I have read and just tell you what I liked and disliked about the books. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So the first book of the Reading Rush that I chose is The Queen's Assassin by Melissa de la Cruz. And this corresponds with the question, the? Like, you know, you had to read a title that started with the word the. So I got this one out. And if you guys watch my reading vlog, which I would be more than happy to post the link right up here for you, so you guys can check that out and see how I felt through the week, because I felt really crappy through the week, I'm gonna be honest. But I managed to finish this book, and I gave it 2 stars. So the plot, you know, okay, so it starts out with, like, you know, the history of the land and prepping you up into the present. And you get to hear that there's this war going on, and there's these sacred scrolls that were missing, and they were taken by the enemy, and then they have to find the scrolls. Well, the king of this land, I forgot what it was called, ended up dying on the battlefield. And the queen went a little bit, well, not saying like she went a little bit crazy, but she was emotionally distraught that her husband's gone and she just wasn't all there. So her assassin, which his name is Holt, he's standing there with her and he's just, you know, doing his job, and then she's just like, we have to find these scrolls, you know, they must not get into the enemy's hands, or otherwise, you know, our land's gonna be burnt up into flames, practically. So she made a blood vow to her assassin, which that's why it's called the Queen's Assassin, because he's an assassin. So she makes a blood vow that he has to find the scrolls, otherwise the vow will be passed down into his children. At that time, he already had a son. At that time, I think he would be like a year old or maybe 2 years old. So if Holt does not complete the vow, it goes to the son. So now you're in your present years, and the queen has a daughter. She's called Shadow. And Shadow has this dream of joining the guild, you know, just like her aunts have done, and not take the throne. And the queen is just like, yeah, you are, you know, practically. And she ends up meeting Cal Holt, which is the Queen's Assassin's son, which that's the year-old kid, or the 2-year-old that I was just explaining. And now he's the Queen's Assassin because his father died. So now the vow goes to him. And something happens between the two of them that now they have to set off this journey into finding the scrolls. The plot sounds good. I'm gonna be honest about that. But I just wasn't feeling it. One, it was the characters. Shadow was very strong-headed, you know, and, you know, she was just like, you have to do it my way, you know, or it's the highway, practically. I like saying practically a lot, again, in this video. Sorry. And Cal Holt is just like, no, you know, if you want, you know, to train under me, you have to listen to me. And that was kind of like an agreement that they both had, like, you know, well, you're supposed to take me on as your apprentice. That's what Shadow is saying. And Cal is just like, okay, well, let's see if we can get out of this mess first. And just the two characters, I think it was try to be like a hate to love relationship, but I saw too much hate and too much stubbornness for them to actually be in a relationship. Now, siblings, they act more like siblings, not like, you know, lovers. I stopped. Okay. I'm no longer saying that word for, you know, during this talk of this book. So, I'm gonna watch my mouth. And I don't know, the characters weren't sitting right. There was too much, I don't know, like, you know, like, if it was like trailed just right, it would flow, you know, but it wasn't flowing. It was just like a really chaotic river, and I'm just like, I don't know. But I didn't realize this is going to be, I don't know if it's a series or it's going to be like, there's a sequel coming out here in 2021. So it's going to be like, I think it's set in March. I don't know if I'm going to pick this book up again, but that was just my take on The Queen's Assassin. The second book that I read for the reading rush is from an ebook library thing. So we'll put the photo right up here. It is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a fantasy slight adventure novel. Has a little bit of romance in there too, if you guys like that. And I enjoyed this book. This has given me 3 stars, and I didn't realize that this book had a love and hate relationship, but I think like all books have that too. So, oh well, we're just gonna go right in. So, if you guys didn't see, Michael and I, we had a book discussion on it. So I'll post another link up here if you guys would like to watch that as well, and I'll try to put them in the description down below. So you guys can just check it out after the video. That's cool. So the plot starts with this mage. His name is Dragon, which just sounds like a really cool name for a mage guy. And he lives in this tower. And what he does and why the people fear him is that he takes one woman every 10 years. And he just keeps them locked in the tower and then lets them go. And they never come back. Like they, I would imagine that they would see them off, but they never return back to the home. And then you got Neshka, who is kind of probably like an average looking gal. And everybody feels like Neshka's not gonna get picked because her best friend, who's like a sister to her, Kasha, is probably gonna be picked. Because Dragon seems, the type of the guy that would choose the prettiest girl, or the kindest girl, or the smartest girl. And Kasha is all of that all wrapped up in one. So 2 families are preparing one to leave. They're for sure thinking she's gonna go, while the other one's just like, well, hey, at least you'll be back for dinner kind of thing, And it turned out opposite. Neshka got chosen and Kasha didn't. And the families were just like unprepared for this. They were just like, I thought it was gonna go like this. And I felt bad for both of the girls just because on how their families and the town's mindset was. They thought that they had no chance. And, Kasha was so prepared to go that she wasn't prepared to figure out what to do if she wasn't chosen. So she was like left out, abandoned kind of thing. And Neshka's just like, why in the world did he choose me? And Neshka is another stubborn character. I have a little problem with stubborn characters, or they're thinking with their emotions and not with their head. This is probably why I relate to Dragon a lot. And Michael can verify that too if you guys watch the vlog, or not the vlog, the discussion video, because he was just like, see, this is the living proof of Dragon, I am Dragon, it's just, you gotta think with your head sometimes and not with your emotions. I'm almost blunt. I just want to say almost, because there's sometimes I'm not blunt. I'm not very honest about things. Dragon is honest about things. He'll call it like it is, and I do not call it like it is. So I did like the flow of the story, but at the end it felt rushed. They completed their quest. I'm not going to tell you what the quest is, and it just like, again, good steady flow, and then zoom, okay, it's done, and I'm just like, what? I just felt rushed. I didn't feel like it was completed, but it's just a standalone novel. You guys can pick it up, there's no series or anything that I need to follow for it, but I did like it. So, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. That's probably with the last book, was take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, that's what I felt about Uprooted. The next book that I read for the reading rush is The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Agawa. And this is a Japanese author translated into English. It would be really cool to read Japanese, but yeah, that's going to take me a while. So this is a very, very short novel. This is only 180 pages. And this is about the housekeeper and the professor. The housekeeper is a new hire for the professor. And a lot of housekeepers came and went from the professor's household. Who knows what the mystery was about that? So she shows up and she comes to realize that the professor can only hold memory for 80 minutes. So his suit has like lots of notes everywhere. So like he'll draw a picture of the housekeeper and say, this is the new housekeeper, this is what she looks like. It feels like, you know, he led a sad life, but in the book he didn't necessarily live a sad life. You know, there were some moments that were, you know, a little bit heartbreaking for me because I tried to read and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so sad. But it's still a good novel. I would still pick this up. You guys still should pick it up. I gave it 3 stars, and even though this was a very short novel, she made her point very clear. You know, you don't need to have a very descriptive novel to make your point across. You know, so I do like that it's that short. The other thing is the professor was, he taught math. And there is a lot of math in here. So you're talking about like prime numbers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I hated math. I hate math now. I did not like it growing up. I had such a hard time learning math. I swear I had a disability in that. Just learning itself, you know. Oh my goodness, that was a rough childhood. But yeah, so there is a deeper connection. There is a deeper meaning to this novel, you know. It's just, you gotta have to pick it up and read it. It is a bit, like, it's sad towards the end, but it's still a good novel, and I do recommend you guys to read this. The last book that I read for the reading rush is Tuesdays with Mori by Mitch Albom. Yes, this was my last one. I should have done shorter novels for the reading rush, but I felt like I could do this. This was no problem, but a lot of stuff happened last week. So that was my B. So Tuesdays with Mori is actually about a real guy named Mori. You know, it's from Mitch's point of view. Mori was his professor or teacher or something. I don't know if it was college or high school. I would think it's college. And he studied under Mori. And at the end of, you know, graduation, they decided that they were going to remain friends. So years later, Mori is living the life that he wanted, but stuff kept happening to his body. Like, he kept falling down. He was hitting into things. He's just like, what the heck's going on? Multiple tests later, that he got diagnosed with ALS. And I had to look it up to make sure I was getting the right condition in. Stephen Hawking had this condition, but he had it when he was young, like 20s, like early 20s, mid 20s. And it stuck with him through his whole life. And now Mori has that condition, but now he's given only a couple of years to live. And Mori's like, I'm not gonna live that long. I can already tell you that. So every Tuesday, Mitch would go down and visit Mori and try to get his story, you know, and try to pass on kind of like his legacy, his lessons, I should say. He's trying to pass on his lessons. And he visits him every Tuesday, record, and he's teaching, you know, Mitch about things. So, like, there's a talk about forgiveness, there's a talk about family, there's a talk about marriage. There's so many topics in here that, you know, you may not relate to, like marriage, not married, but even if you're just like in a relationship, you know, one of the things that Mori said was you need to communicate with your, you know, SO. So, yeah, it's just like, yeah, what he said, like, was, you know, true. I think it's SO, significant other, yeah. So it is a very short novel as well. I think this one almost had 180 pages, 192. So it is a very short novel. It did have you know, some good lessons in here that I am going to try and pick up and put it in with my life as well. So yes, and I also gave this one 3 stars as well. If you guys have not read this, go on ahead and pick this one up. So that's it. That was the wrap up for the reading rush. Again, yes, I only read 4 books. I don't know if it was like my headache, but I didn't know if it was like the heat or a combination of a couple of things. But yeah, that was my problem. So yeah, I only read like 4 books. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please like the video, or you can subscribe, you know, and then you can see some more content of mine that will be coming up here soon. So more books, a little talk about video games, maybe some anime. Give that a little shot as well. So guys, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!